switch this. There we go. See, I didn't have to be told today.
You remembered.
There you go. So were we expecting some new people today, Ms. T?
We invited one person, I believe. Bill, did you get an email off to that guy?
Yeah, and then he sent an email back to me that was actually supposed to be going to somebody else. My obviously was changed to Neil. He doesn't have Zoom. I don't have much hopes for that prospect.
Yeah, he told me that he didn't have Zoom, but he said it couldn't be too difficult, could it? And I said, well, no.
After he gave me the oops that he sent the email to the wrong person, he said he'd get back to me, but never heard again.
Well, it sounds like you'd fit into this group really well.
Like a Mad magazine.
He had a gorgeous dog. Oh, a blue merle collie that he uses as a therapy dog. Gorgeous animal.
Okay. So we have no introductions, or we have an introduction for somebody who's not here. What else we got, Bill? I've got the video. Have we got anything before that?
The one thing we were going to discuss with the group is the next meeting would fall that week of July 4th, and we wanted to know if we wanted maybe to skip over that one and just pick up the week later. We didn't know what people's schedules would be for.
Right. What date should the meeting be? Hang on. I'm in disarray. I'm in catch-up mode. We've had construction for the last week, and I'm really, actually, you can't see my office because I've got a background on, but I just put this computer back in here so I could do this meeting.
Yeah, July 6th.
July 6th.
6th. Okay, thank you. So I think a lot of people have, I don't know, what do people think?
Doesn't make any difference to me.
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Here.
Okay, so on a modest sample, it sounds okay. So put it in the notes, Bill, could we, or Helen, whoever's doing notes, Helen, I guess. And then if people feel strongly, we can change that. But it does look like, or at least from this sample, it sounds like most of us are going to be around. Okay. Okay. So video, Bill, is that right? The focus video?
Yeah. Just like to mention to some of the folks that might not have been able to get to our little last get together, that ended up being a pretty good time, where, you know, we discussed a little bit about filters, but more so is that we have found a Sony group within the group that got together, and they're going to be working together to work on some, I guess, Sony issues. So that was a good thing. So it was really good to see people and get out a little bit, took some pictures around the barn. So it was a good time. Other than that, yep, on to the video and then on to the challenge, I guess.
Okay, let's see if I can. I'm going to try doing this video full screen. I've set it up a little differently this time. Usually, if I try to go full screen, it goes haywire on you guys and you can't see it. So let's see. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Photo with your digital camera? If so, you're definitely not alone. In my early days as a young photographer, I used to get blurry photos a lot, which was very frustrating because I often had only one chance to take an important photo. And if that photo turned out blurry, there was nothing I could do to take it again. But over time, I discovered 4 specific ways to avoid blurry photos, each one of them being very effective on its own, but when combined, produce consistently perfect results. I wish I'd known.
Audio's gone.
Lost video, audio. Graham lost audio.
As you were taking the photo. I'm now showing an
What was that? Somebody got a problem?
We've lost audio.
Oh, how weird. Okay.
So today I'm sharing them with you, so your photos always remain tack sharp. A really big cause of blurry photos is the result of camera shake. This means that your camera is moving as you are taking the photo. I'm now showing an exaggerated version of camera shake, but the idea will remain the same. So understandably, the photo comes out blurry if the camera is moving. To avoid camera shake and get perfectly sharp photos, you need to hold the camera correctly. Start out by tucking your left arm into your rib cage and opening your palm. Your camera lens will sit on your palm. This way, most of the camera's weight will be held by your left arm, while the rest of your body will help balance the weight. Tucking your arm in is an easy and effective way to give you one more point of contact for added stability. Next, grab your camera body with your right hand. For extra balance, tuck your right arm into the side of your rib cage as well, and you are ready to take the photo. And the photo comes out tack sharp. Remember, don't hold your camera like this, where your arms are far from your upper body. Pull your arms closer to your core so that your entire body has a type of stabilization effect. Another great way to avoid camera shake is by using a third point of contact, like a railing or a garbage can or a wall. This will stabilize your camera too. And of course, if you're bringing your tripod with you, you don't need to worry about camera shake at all. Another reason why your photos might seem blurry is because they are simply not in focus. To get the correct focus for non-moving or static scenes, use a focus mode called single shot autofocus. Let me show you how it's done. On your rear LCD screen, you will be able to access through your menu button or a function button, AFS, which is autofocus single, or just may be signified by S or single shot. Now, if your camera has these options on the camera body itself or on the lens, M is manual, C is for continuous, and S is for single shot. When you press your shutter button halfway down, your camera's single shot autofocus will calculate the distance between your camera and your subject. You can focus on your desired subject within the center of the frame, and then you can lock your focus by pressing your shutter button halfway down. As long as you keep the button halfway pressed, you can recompose your shot however you wish. The focus distance is locked, and you can take a shot that is perfectly in focus. And your subject can be anywhere in the frame, not just in the dead center. To get the focus right for objects in motion, otherwise known as dynamic scenes, use the focus mode called continuous autofocus. When you press your shutter button halfway down, your camera's continuous autofocus will start tracking your subject. And even if the distance between your camera and the subject is changing, the subject remains in focus. You can see that in each of the shots I took of this green taxi coming toward me. The taxi remains sharply focused. Another way to avoid blurry or shaky photos, especially when the light is low in the sky or wherever you're photographing, is to increase the ISO number. ISO is how you measure your camera sensor's light sensitivity. The higher the ISO number, the more sensitive your camera's sensor is to light. With a higher ISO number, your camera will be able to perform better in low light conditions. Okay, let me show you how to get into your ISO settings. Well, the ISO can be found usually within your rear LCD screen by tapping your menu button or one of your function buttons. So if you're using a retro style camera like this Fujifilm, it's actually quite simple. It's at the top, you'll see the numbers 200. They probably go all the way up to very high amounts. These are your ISO numbers, and the higher they go, the more you can shoot in low light. Let's compare the scene here with two ISO values. 200 is my camera's lowest ISO number, and this second shot was taken at ISO 1600. The first one is obviously no good. It's blurry. It's because my hand was too shaky to be able to deal with such a slow shutter speed. That's because we had a very low ISO. Low ISO is excellent in the daytime or when you have a tripod, but not so great in the evening. Now let's take a look at this second picture. I took the ISO all the way up to 1600. And even though I'm still hand holding the picture without a tripod, the picture is nice and sharp. Now, you may say, well, I heard that a higher ISO leads to more grainy type images. Well, that's true. However, it's always better to get a shot with a little bit of a grain than to have no shot at all. If you zoom into this picture, you'll see just a tiny bit more grain compared to the first picture. However, it's definitely not a deal breaker. Finally, your photos might not appear to be sharp enough throughout the entire picture because you are using a low f-stop number. If you don't know what f-stop numbers mean, don't worry. In simple terms, your camera's f-stop number determines how much background blur and to a certain extent how much foreground blur your photos have. The lower the f-stop number, the more blur there will be behind and in front of your subject. Okay, so for photographing these two really tasty looking pastries, I am going to first go into aperture priority mode. Now, if you don't know what aperture priority mode is, don't worry. But all you need to do is switch your camera to A, or if you're a Canon user, it'll be AV. Now, I'd like you to go to your lowest f-stop number possible. Now, what that means is you will probably be choosing either f5.6, f4, f2.8, or whatever your lowest aperture is. Now, on a retro style camera, it's very simple. The ring is on the lens, and all you need to do is switch down to the lowest. For example, mine is f2.8. However, if you have a DSLR or a different style camera, you will be adjusting your f-stops within your LCD screen. It'll be in your menu. Okay, so let's give this picture a try at f2.8 and see what happens. Okay, so as you can see, we have a big problem. The second pie, the apple pie, is good and sharp, but the first pie is blurry. Also, the background is blurry, and of course, everything in front of the pies are blurry as well. So how do we deal with a situation like this? Well, there are a few different ways you can fix that, but let's go to f8, and we rotate from our lowest f-stop number to f8. Let's take another test shot. Okay, now when we compare these two, we actually see that more background and more foreground is coming into focus. This is good. However, the front part of the Raspberry Pi is still a little bit blurry. Let's go to f22. Okay, now at f22, we have both pies perfectly sharp. And actually, you can see a lot more detail in the background, which is either good or bad, depending on your artistic taste. And also, did you notice that more of the table is now sharp? This is a result of focus sharpness from using a higher f-stop number. Now, there's so much more I'd like to tell you about digital photography. And while I didn't hold anything back, there's only so much I could share with you in a short video like this. And that's why I've recorded an entire video course about taking incredible photos with your digital camera. And finally, taking your camera off of the auto mode. So if you'd like to find out more about my digital photography course, you'll find more information right under this video. So take a look at my full digital photography course, and I hope to see you there.
Okay, what did people think?
I'm gonna go to the bakery after we're done.
I'm hungry.
Gonna go to Google House.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought, he covered all the basics and, reminded me that I gotta keep my elbows in.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was nice to have everything all in one succinct few minutes.
Often, when I talk to the folks, in the group, it sometimes has to do with focus. And so I just, while I was cruising around on YouTube, I found that, and I thought it was about the best and well explained ones that I've seen. So I was hoping that'd be helpful for some.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
very good.
Bill. Thank you.
Good. Okay, good stuff. All right, let's see what we have. All right, you should have a picture.
Okay, I thought I'd put these in a way that they be in sequence, but I see it's the last one came first. This was a part of a challenge over at the barn. And, we had different options as far as, the wood, we had rectangles, we had textures, we had a lot of things, but just so happens when we're there, one of the folks that works in Farrington Village was scouring around in this little storage bin here. And what I did is I actually submitted 4 images, one which is a very wide one, and I showed how I just kept cropping it down to come to this one, where this one was much more intimate as far as, the person working within what seems to be a very cluttered storage bin.
It almost looks like an old photo from a long time ago. It's funny. It doesn't, it almost looks historic or something.
Yeah.
You know, Bill, you know what I like about this one? Is that the upper portion of her head is obstructed, but you can see some of it through the screen or the burlap or whatever's there. It makes it kind of an intriguing looking photo, I think.
I think that's what drew me to it as well, where I could have gotten lower and got her face, but getting what we assume is normal sometimes isn't the best image.
Yeah, exactly.
How did you process this, Bill? Because at first glance, it looks like a black and white, but it's not.
I think I might have dropped the luminance a little bit, or where it kind of gave the feeling of black and white, but still left a little color, like the red in her dress and of the fabric there. Yeah, I just played a little bit, because I don't know that much.
Sure.
Nicely
I
done.
really like it. I really like the photograph. It makes it. It looks like hell. And the woman's face, what you can see of her nose and her mouth, it looks like it expresses incredible frustration and chaos. And it does it all in one shot. It's very, very good and very evocative. I like it a lot.
Now, this is the highest cropped portion of the image. You'll see it kind of unfold where it started.
Good, nicely done. Okay.
This is a step back. It's still her there, but what I did is I allowed the viewer to see more of that, what kind of cubby hole she's in there, that there's a lock there. I cropped it just enough so that the light would just be off to the right there, just to give it a little different feel.
Yeah.
Everything looks so in focus.
Well, yeah.
He watched the video first.
Now it looks like a mystery, like there's a crime going on or something. It's great.
How did you handle the light on the right? Everything that I took in the barn, the lights just blew my meter off and just were so bright, and yet you've gotten a perfectly metered picture.
Well, maybe that D850 has a little more dynamic range, and I'm sure I pushed down the highlights a lot. Yeah, it was probably a little brighter. But as far as the look of the image, I like the idea that I wanted to keep the lock over there to the left side, showing that these were doors. You know, it's just a step back from the last image.
Nicely done. Now,
Oh, wrong way.
did I go backwards? I did.
Nah. Oh,
Okay.
and the other one that you just bypassed was the big wide shot.
Oh, there was, no? Oh, that one. I'm sorry, Bill.
This was the original. This is what I took when we're out there. And because I'm lucky enough to have that 850, yeah, I tried to take a wide shot so that you can, you can crop it as you go along. And like you can see on this one, Helen, the light bulb is a lot brighter. This was where I didn't do much of the adjustments to the highlights or shadows or things. But yeah, really meant it to go, I guess, starting from this one and going to the other ones, just to show a progression of how you can sometimes find a picture within a picture. And sometimes it's better to really come close to your subject, but sometimes being a little on the wide side gives you more creative license as well.
So Bill, I guess I don't understand. You didn't do this cropping in post, you did it in the camera?
Post.
On,
It started off as this image, and every one you see is just cropping and just making a few little changes.
in post?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Good. Nice job.
Yeah.
I like the tonal range in here particularly. Well done.
Yes.
Okay.
That's mine. Just a little background story. When we were at the barn, I talked to this woman and asked her what was in the other closets, and she opened it up and didn't mind that we were taking pictures of those, as long as I promised that I would lock it up and turn out the lights after we were done, which I did. So it worked out. I think a lot of folks had other opportunities to take shots within those closets as well. But so yeah, this is so you were talking about straight lines. I was having trouble with that. I did adjust the window sill, sort of a straightish line, even though there are other lines in there that are not. And I thought that would make people less seasick. So that's what I did. And then let everything else fall the way it was.
Yeah, this is one of those where you have to just choose what it is that works best for you, isn't it?
Right.
Good choice, Larry. Good choice.
Yeah, a lot of great geometry.
I also used a filter that brought out the wood grain. So the peeling wood.
Yep.
Yep.
Nicely done. Very good.
Thank you.
Oops. I'm not doing very well on the keyboard this morning. There we go.
That was one of the closets. I thought Graham might have been shooting in there as well, but it was so interesting because it looks like something that you would have back in the 1800s, a closet with all these gas lanterns, and I cropped it down pretty tight, but that was the best shot I could get out of it. But
now, did you change the white balance, Larry? I remember it being a lot yellower than that.
yes,
okay.
I did, and in fact, I filtered it to black and white, but this was nicer because it has that wood grain.
Right.
And I just thought it gave it a little bit more pop than just a black and white, although the black and white was interesting as well because it toned it down a little, the light on the left. Yeah, that's right. It toned it down, and it was but you know, either one or the other. But I love the idea that we could take pictures inside those closets because they were more fun than the barn itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Excellent.
Thank you.
I think that's mine.
Okay. Want to tell us anything about it, Lynn? Or are you keeping quiet?
I think I did the same with straightening that window sill line so it was level.
Right.
Then the other picture I think I liked better because it was a close-up that I took, that I sent.
I like the tones in this. There's a good tonal range.
Very sharp.
One thing with the barn is that you can turn around and straighten one area of it and it puts something else out. So it's
Yeah.
it's kind of an interesting.
Yeah. And I did use a tripod.
Yay!
I get credit for that.
No, it's good. You know, it's a nice photo. It's sharp. It's good tonal.
Yeah, I was just going to comment on how nice and sharp it is.
Yeah, I was too.
Thank you.
Incredibly sharp.
Well, there you go. Let that be.
I like the contrast and saturation between the background and the small trees.
Mm-hmm.
The trees are so obviously saturated, and the rest of the background is very nice. I like it.
Thank you.
Nicely seen.
Yeah. This one was a bigger picture. I sent both of them to Graham, but the first one showed some dirt at the bottom and some little green, very small, almost grass-like little clumps. And then I cropped it again and I decided I liked this better without the distraction of the green clumps.
Yeah.
Was this a big crop, Lynn?
Yes, I would say.
Yeah.
Because the original picture probably showed 2 or 3 hinges.
Oh, right.
Still very sharp.
Yeah, how do you get it so sharp?
So I can't see the picture anymore.
Oh, nothing's changed here.
I can get.
Still here.
Yep.
Weird. Oh, that's strange.
Put another quarter in.
We see you.
I see all the people.
Oh,
Oh, what did I do now?
it might be on gallery view. Put it on the other.
Oh, now I have it.
Good.
So is it obvious that it was cropped a lot?
No.
Mm.
How do you
No.
get it so sharp? That's what I'm.
Tripod.
iPad.
Yeah, I used the tripod. I liked that nail sticking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like something I'd do.
Pardon?
I said it looks like something I'd do.
Okay. Well, I'll take that as a compliment.
Very
I'm not
good.
bending over the nail.
Good. Nicely seen.
Okay, that's mine. And I didn't straighten the door.
I
No,
like that one.
Mark's not here, so you're okay.
Okay.
You didn't need to straighten the door because your image or concentration would be on the plant, not the door
Yeah.
itself.
No, but at one point I tried straightening the door and I didn't like the way it looked. And I also, at one point I thought about, I was trying to crop it, but I guess I liked having the red on the left, the upper right, and the red on the lower right. So I didn't crop out any of the plant.
I think that would have detracted from it. I think you're right. I think that's good the way it is.
Mhm. Yeah.
Nice and sharp.
Thank you. I like sharp, you can tell. And I'm always happy when I get something sharp.
Another feeling.
Good. Okay.
And what was that, Frank Huskins that he sent you, Graham?
I can't remember, and I don't think no, it's not named, so I don't know. It may be. I can't remember, to be honest. But I don't think this is when we were there. This struck me as a separate session with the lights on.
Yeah.
But it works really well. I like it. I think it's a nice picture.
Yeah, Frank was there with us, but I don't think he had his camera with him. And then he came back later.
Right.
So they put the lights on about 8 o'clock at night.
Oh, they do? Okay. Well, there are no photographers in the picture either, which is another clue, huh? But I think that's nicely done.
Yeah, I like the
those.
perspective on this one too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The way all those straight lines and then the curved lines is very nice.
I also like the light on the lower right, that little, I don't know what that is, but just on the right side of the door.
Yeah, path light.
Yeah, I think that adds to the picture.
Yeah, because it actually is on that one part there of the trellis, but then also you can see a little bit of the incandescent light probably reflecting off onto the barn to the right there.
Yeah.
About 7 slats or so.
Good. Another nice one. Aha.
Ooh.
Ah.
Oh, this might be Beth's. This is Beth's, imported from Colorado, and she was looking for feedback.
Okay. Well, at first, my first impression when I flashed on the screen was that it was too bright, but now I think it's not too bright. I think it's that the striations or whatever you want to call it of the sun and shade really makes it an interesting picture.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm still debating about whether the branch on the right or the trunk on the right adds to it, and or whether it's too bright. I think, to me, the main interest is down here in the tone, and the shapes here, and so I'm sort of really ambivalent about this big white bit here, but it's an interesting image, I think, nicely captured. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, the shadows and the light are very, very effective.
I think I might want to see just a little bit more saturation so that the greens would come out a little more, but maybe not. I don't know. I'd have to try it and see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've been doing something lately that might work in this photograph, and it would be effectively picking out all of the foliage and leaving the white. Looks like what is that, birch tree or something? On the one that Graham said he was ambivalent about, and making everything else black or green or something, but a fill layer.
Yeah.
Take away all that busyness back there and make the concentration on the chaos and the woodwork more stunning. And I've been doing it a lot lately, and with individual trees that have a lot of character, and it's a way of pulling the trees out of the forest in a way.
Uh-huh.
And also if you can adjust the opacity of that fill layer and bring in just a little memory of the green and the foliage to give some context if you want it. Anyway, I've been doing that lately, and it's really, really effective in lots of situations.
Okay.
Share some of that with us.
Yeah, I didn't have anything that was relevant to the challenge, so I didn't put it in, but I'll look forward to passing one of those along one of these weeks.
Good. Thanks, folks. Aha. I think we all took that. Whose is this one? Oh, nobody's laying claim. Oh, I don't know.
Bob Seidel, maybe?
I don't remember. What do we think?
It's a door.
A little too bluish.
Yeah, little bluish. The slit where it doesn't fit well does lend a kind of secretive air to what might be behind the door.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice straightforward shot. Technically, it's good. Excellent. Okay, let's see. Aha.
That's mine. And I went back to the barn and brought my macro lens and decided I'd try to attempt to shoot some macro. So
Okay.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah. What was the aperture on this? Do you know? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I'll look it up and I'll
f2.8.
2.8. Okay.
okay.
Very,
Yeah.
very nice.
Thank you. What do you all think about? I sort of wasn't sure about the background, but does that seem okay, or do you think it needs to be? I messed with it a little bit, but I just didn't seem to be able to change it much. And I sort of like the pink, but I don't know. What do people think? Do you think the background works okay?
I like the background a lot. I would like to have seen you take down the whiteness in those three particular petals. They're kind of distracting to me, but if you could move that green color into those three, that would look that's really, really nice. But I like you call it bouquet, I think you call it, that look.
If I had taken that picture, I would be concerned about that upper right, so much black. What did the rest of you think about that? I never know about weight and so much darkness.
My eye is drawn to the left side of the picture, the upper left, rather than this black part.
Okay.
And it's one of those strange things where you couldn't crop it anymore because you still need that one stem or petal that comes all the way out toward the bottom there. It's almost like, unless you change where you were standing versus the main part of the image.
Well, you could move some of the green up into that area. You know, when I first looked at it, I was kind of staring at the black, wondering whether it bothered me or not. It doesn't really bother me that much. I think it's fine the way it is, but you certainly could, move some of the green just below it up into the black area.
Okay.
Or would have shadows, messing with the shadows, pulled a little bit of something out back in there.
But I'm not sure you want anything in there. I mean, to me, it's not a fundamental part of the picture. So I certainly wouldn't want to see it lightened up to put anything in there that might drag you out a little.
And did you put a vignette on it?
What?
Did you put a vignette on it?
I did in honor of Tom Marriott. Tom's always telling me things, so I did put a vignette.
And I think why, in a certain way, that the dark in the right top hand corner isn't all that distracting is because you do have the edges that are a little darker as well. So I think it kind of brings it in toward the center a little more.
Okay,
I think that was a good move.
Yeah, I like it.
thank you.
Good. Okay.
Nice color.
I like that. Whose is it?
Oh, that's a good question. Do I have a name? We do not have a name.
Wow.
It's whoever has the Tamron 28 to 300. So
It looks to me like a flash was used, but maybe not. I'm looking for shadows behind the branches.
Somebody went back up there later because the lights aren't on. So,
Because that's inside the hallway. And yeah.
yeah.
I'm betting it's Bob Seidel because he bought my 28 to 300.
oh, well, there we go. That's probably Bob then.
And because he probably had it on 2800, he couldn't get the bottom of the bottom bucket.
Yeah, that would have made that picture perfect. But I still like it.
He used the filter though, didn't he? To bring out the highlights of the wood.
I don't know. It looks like a reasonably straight shot to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's sort of, it's funny that tree on the right is kind of tilted over.
Well, if you look, the horizontal lines are curved too. So, I mean, let's see what, it's probably a very wide angle shot. Yep, 28 millimeters. So, you know, this is a reasonably wide angle lens, and you can, I'm assuming that the planks are straight, but if you look at them, you can see a fair degree of curvature. Certainly, you know, watch this one here.
Yeah.
And the same then would apply here, where we've got, even though we're looking square on, these are tending to barrel out to the side of the picture. Now, naturally, they appear to do that, but the 28 mil would emphasize that even more. I think this is
Graham.
Yeah.
Graham, when you have this problem of the curve horizontal line, can you fix that?
Sure. I mean, if you're a Lightroom, I know you're not, but if you're a Lightroom user, and it's a fairly, I don't mean common, I mean that it's in wide use. I just apply a profile, and I do it as part of my import routine, so that the distortion on the lenses is automatically taken care of. It takes care of chromatic aberrations and distortions. And most of the modern software nowadays has some form of lens profiling, either automatic, or you can adjust it. You can use effectively warping. So you've got all the controls now. You can pin cushion or flatten it. So on a wide lens like this, you're going to get, I forget which type of distortion this is, but a profile would take that curvature out, and it would apply correction based on the EXIF data. So certainly Lightroom does, and I'm sure others do too.
Okay. And it's under profiles.
In Lightroom, it's under, well, we can find this very quickly. Lens corrections.
Okay.
And I'm not going to do it. It won't do anything here, but this is where we would do it. And we can deal with chromatic aberrations, or we can deal with corrections. And if we don't like, or the lens isn't in there, or we don't like what it does, we can go in and do it manually.
Okay, so, thank you.
Yeah, and they work really well. Okay.
Oh, that's mine.
There you go then.
I went up Sunday when it was raining. So it, little kind of a gloomy image. And I had to turn the sign so that you could see the writing.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I shot the sign from a different angle and then put it in post.
Very good.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a, kind of a washed out rainy day picture. But I kept it because I wanted to experiment with one of my filters. So the next shot is the one that I was happier with.
Uh-huh.
Red light bulb.
Oh,
Yeah, that works. That's a very HDR-ish look.
Yeah, again, I was trying for a kind of like a watercolor effect.
Mhm, mhm.
like a painting.
Yeah.
Mm.
So anyway, that was my experimentation for
That works well. What happened
Challenge.
with the light bulb?
Yeah, the red light bulb.
Yeah, I find that red very distracting there because you're right, red is going to grab you straight away.
yeah, and I overlooked that.
But nicely done. Get rid of the red, AJ, and
Yep,
I would be really thumbs upping on this one.
Gotta go back and fix that.
Does your camera have that feature, or is that a post-production?
What
To set it up in it looks like a watercolor? Or
oh no, that's an add-on filter that I have for my Photoshop. A
okay.
third-party filter that I got.
Oh, okay. Looks really good.
So you said it's with Photoshop?
Yes, but it's a third-party filter that I purchased. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the company I got it from.
Nice job.
Thanks.
What do they call the filter? Just for fun, AJ, you know?
I don't, without going back and looking.
AJ's fabulous filter.
You can do something similar with the standard filters in Photoshop. When you go into the filters artistic, there's a bunch of filters in there, and there's one that'll do something similar to this.
Right. And the other thing that if anybody's got HDR software, you might remember when HDR was first a vogue, all pictures looked something like this. There was a very HDR look. So if you have something like Photomatics, there are plenty of different options in there, and some of them let you produce a similar, not identical, but a similar look. And I've encouraged folks to play a lot, and I think this is a great example of taking what would be a fairly straightforward record shot in bloody awful weather and turning it into something quite creative. So I'd encourage folks to do it more. And particularly some of the shots we looked at earlier, they're great shots. They're technically very good. But I think artistically, you could play a bit and see whether a more artistic rendition brings out something that you prefer or not. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Now, I went back to my folder where I have my photos, and I just pulled this photo up, and that red is not in my original photo. That red spot you're seeing.
Right.
So that's strange. I don't know what that is.
It looks like the overexposure indicator, but I don't know how it gets translated into a final image.
Because my photo doesn't show it. It just shows the bright light.
Oh, there you go. It's a bonus for everybody, AJ. Huh?
I guess. Anyway, the name of that filter, the company is called Redfield, and it's called Quad Pencil.
Mm. Now, Adobe used to do an add-in for all sorts of painting modes, but I don't think it works with the latest ones. I think they've pulled that. And the other guy who used to do a lot of filters, I don't know whether he still does, is I've forgotten his name. The guy, he's an Adobe evangelist that dresses up in all sorts of weird stuff. Brown, but I forget his. Dr. Brown. I mean, if you search for Dr. Brown's filters, it'll find them. And he does a lot of add-ins. He's now playing, as far as I can see, almost exclusively with Lightroom on the phone and the iPad. And he's doing some wonderful work. If you don't follow him, he's well worth following if those of you are on Facebook and so on.
Do you have this open in Lightroom?
This is Lightroom, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because that red spot baffles me. It's not on the original photo.
Oh, I don't know what to tell you, AJ. I didn't mess with it, I promise.
No, I believe you.
So I think that's it for today. Oops, no, I didn't want to do that, Graham.
I sent one later last night about 8:30. Ellen. While he's hunting, there's remarkably, if you move an image to Word in Windows, then you can play with a lot of filters, bizarre filters. It really, really changed something. Of course, you lose a lot of resolution, but you create something that quite unique.
Yeah, and I think playing, there are plenty of tools out there and many, 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 many different options. And a lot of which are free or easy to try. I'm not a big fan of buying filters. I don't purchase very many. And I find that once I've bought them, they're a fad for a little while and then I move on and they sit there like, I've forgotten the name of the filters that Google bought and then sold again. Topaz, was it Topaz that they bought and sold? So I still have the really, really, really old versions of those things.
Nick filters.
Nick, thank you, Nick. Yep, and they're good tools. They're great tools. But I'm a Yorkshireman. Yorkshiremen, we have short arms and deep pockets, so we can't reach the money. Yeah, go and play anything. I mean, just things like combining the images, doubling the image, turning the image a little. I mean, I've made art prints from literally taking the same print and then just rotating many, many copies of it and then putting it together. So there are lots of things that you can do and play.
Should that be one of the challenges, just to specifically have people mess around with their photographs?
One of the things I did a whole series, and I will never show you most of these. Well, there's one photo I will never show. It's called the Genesis series. And I challenge most people to tell me what the creation image is. And for those of you, actually, it's a little tougher on the East Coast. For those of us who are landscape and nature photographers on the West Coast, most of us have spent time in Yosemite and the Merced River Valley. And this is a really well-known landmark, and yet nobody has ever told me what it was. And that's just because I played and I was trying to do an image that represented the creation of the world. And I think it does the job very well. The one I will never show you is the creation of man. So that is still a source of much amusement among my colleagues on the West Coast. And it was shot in the middle of the desert with a model. That's all I'm telling you. But it was good. It was a good image. Okay. Can
you see if you see the two that came from me? Because one of them was a different interpretation of the flowers in the side of the barn.
That should be everything that I got, Helen. Let's have a look. Let's just...
At about 8 o'clock.
Hang on. When, today?
No, yesterday, 8:30 last night.
Were any of your images here?
No,
How weird.
I wouldn't care because they're neither very good, but one of them was just a different different interpretation of the flowers against the side of the barn.
Hang on a minute, let me look. Let me stop that for a moment. Let me see. Helen. Oh, there they are. Did I not? Let's see. I must not have. How did I do that? Hang on a moment. Un momento.
Well, I'll tell you, one of them is just of two alliums that I hope that I can work on. There's some very disconcerting white blobs in it, and I want to work with that. The other is just a different interpretation of the barn and the flowers, where I chose to do it perpendicular and horizontal as I could get it. And I wish I hadn't, now that I've seen one that.
Well, I don't understand why. They were already in the folder, and Lightroom hadn't picked them up because I just saved them again, and it duplicated them. So let me do this and share. Here we go. For some reason, it duplicated them. They were in the folder, but Lightroom wasn't showing them. That's very odd. Do you see that now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So Helen's two, these two, I think. Is that correct, Helen?
That's correct. And yeah.
So which?
After seeing the one with a different perspective, I liked it much better than this straight up and down perpendicular, but it does give a different.
On this one?
A different feel compared to Susan's. I liked Susan's a lot better.
Okay. Well, thoughts for Helen?
I like that you captured the other fence, which was totally different than the barn would. That kind of highlights it and brings you into the picture with the plant on top. I like this a lot.
Thank you. I just like the difference between the texture, the old, the new.
Yeah.
The straight and the not straight, which I had trouble figuring out which straight to use.
Good. Okay, and then
That one I like a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna work on that one and try to get the white blobs down towards the middle disconcert me. So
Yeah.
I want to blend them in.
But I also like the way they're at an angle. I like that.
Yeah, I had fun with them. I took a lot of those.
was this at the barn, Helen?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
I went up later and took some of away from the barn of Queen Anne's lace, and then put them into Word and played with them and had great fun with that. Whatever the challenge is, sometime I'll show you those, but I was real pleased with them.
Good. Well, I'm sorry I missed them off originally, but
Just a question, those white blobs catch the eye too much. Does not everybody agree with that?
yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah. I mean, that's the sort of thing that when you're looking through the viewfinder, as you get more comfortable with using the camera as a tool, is you know, it's going to be really hard work. It's a lot of work to deal with those afterwards. So spotting those when you're framing your picture is really good. Saves you a lot of work later.
Yeah, and to also look around the flowers as well to see if there's a different background that might really highlight the two flowers, because the pictures of the two flowers are great. And yeah, you can't change nature as far as the background goes, but maybe just by walking around it a little bit and seeing if there's another option of your background.
Or some of us carry little cards around to put behind.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, Bill. You'll appreciate. I couldn't walk around. There was poison ivy.
Oh.
Well, also, I guess, and Tom does this a lot with post-processing, you can change the background, although I'm still learning how to do that.
Yeah,
It's tough on things like this. When you know, this is very similar to hair, particularly women with long hair, and you try and change the background on a photo like that. It's really, really difficult to do. It can be done, and often you need a specialist tool to get the, you know, look at all the fine hairs and the fine elements of these flowers, and try and imagine masking for that. So I wouldn't try to do that on something like this without a specialist tool. And there are a couple of good ones out there, but again, you know, every time you use these specialist tools, you've got to go and pay money usually. So
Or you just clip these two things down at the ground level, take them home. The gardeners there will love you.
yeah, that's an idea.
good job.
So what are these specialist tools, Graham?
What are they? I'm trying to.
I mean, yeah, can you?
There is one. I can't remember the name. There is one where you actually send it off. It takes it from your app into the web, does the background processing, and then gives you it back. And they have both that and a plugin for, I believe, for Photoshop, but I can't remember what it's called. If you look at something like background, you know, do a Google search for background removal, fine hair, or something like that. And there are a couple of really good tools, but they're not cheap.
Well, thanks.
All right. What's next, Bill? What's the next challenge?
Now for the obscure. Midsummer's Day.
There you go. Which happens to be
Yesterday, isn't it?
Midsummer. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm looking at this Midsummer that we've got here. Right, and that will be for July the 6th, I guess.
July 6th.
Yep.
Cool. All right. I guess we're done, huh?
Well, I would like to thank Bill for putting together the excursion to the barn. That was very nice, very enjoyable. And the results, looking at all of them, were also very enjoyable and very instructive.
Yeah, I'd like to underscore that, Helen. And I really enjoyed sitting around for an hour just meeting with everyone. That was probably the highlight of the day.
Yeah.
You must have very sad days, Larry.
Well, no, seriously. I mean,
Yeah, it was nice.
After 15 months of self-isolation, you know,
Yep.
meeting real people, you know, I mean, face to face without this Zoom thing going, you know, it
Absolutely. Yep.
was fun. And also we formed our little Sony group out of that. So sometime in the you know, after everybody gets back from vacations, we could probably get together and talk about different issues that we're all having.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was very worthwhile.
You Sony users, there's a couple of really good people out there. Michael Fry is now a Sony user, and Katrine Eisman. Those of you who know Katrine Eisman, She's been around a long time, wrote a lot of the first books on Photoshop. She was a teacher in New York for many years. She just joined Adobe last year. And she's a big Sony advocate. So they're both worth following. Social media and such like that.
Well, I hope we can get together again like that, because there were so many groups. Graham, I wanted to listen to you talking about flying, and I would listen 1 minute in one ear and 1 minute the next.
Don't get me started on flying in airplanes. I never shut up.
Well, it sounded interesting, and I would have liked to have heard more. And there were other discussions that I would have liked to have heard more of. So we just need to keep doing this.
That's true.
You know, a topic that I'm kind of really hesitate is printing. No, I don't think anybody's doing any talking about printing, and I don't even know if I want to go down that hole or not. But are there many people who are interested in printing?
Well, I do,
Yeah, I've just started doing some. I don't have a very good printer right now. I'll tell you who does is Michael.
I'll bet.
He does a lot of printing, and he's got a really nice printer. So we might tap him, for some advice in that area.
Just to kind of get me started, I'm just totally clueless about it. So it'd be nice to know something.
I took a photography course at Duke Ollie, a couple of years ago, and they did a segment on printing. They focused primarily on DPI and things like that based on the size of the photo you want to print. And that was really interesting. But like I say, I think Michael might be he might be willing to help us out with that. He prints some pretty large stuff.
Yep. I think his printer is broken, but he certainly knows.
Or even how to negotiate, printing houses, sending them off.
Sure, we can talk about profiling and things like that. If there's enough people interested. Unfortunately, Costco have now quit completely. Costco used to be a really good option for sending you prints, but as far as I can see, they've pulled out of that altogether, which is sad.
Walmart's another one that's actually fairly good.
Oh, do Walmart? I didn't know they had that.
Yeah, I've used Walmart and been happy with the results.
Oh,
and I've done some 20 by 30s that they do. And
yeah, they do some pretty good stuff.
Oh, do all stores have that?
You can set up an online account and you can order your photos right online and go to the store the next day and pick them up.
Wow. Do they have profiles for all their printers?
I don't know.
Okay, cool. The thing that was really good about Costco was they had an individual profile for every printer in every different store. So you could get exhibition quality prints out of a Costco run. Provided
Are they permanently closed?
I think they've shut down their big print department. That I can't find anywhere around here. Durham used to do it. They were the only store. Well, no, was it Durham or was it Raleigh? There was only one store in this area, and when I went to look, and I can do up to 16 by 20 here, but when I went to do a bigger print, they didn't have it. But Bay Photo is pretty good. Bay Photo do some excellent stuff. They also have a lot of different substrates. So if you've never tried printing on glass or aluminum, as you people say, you can get some really nice results with you need the right print to do on those sorts of media, but they're good. They're really good. But yeah, if there's enough folks interesting, we can deal with that. And if anybody wants a small size color printer, talk to me offline.
Yeah, one of the things I learned was Southeastern offers service, and they still do print. So
who do?
Southeastern in Carborough.
Yeah.
I learned that at the barn.
Okay. I'm not familiar with them at all.
Yeah, just right in Carborough.
Main Street in Carver.
Oh, okay. Cool. Oh, you mean the Photoshop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was in, see, I was in a completely different universe then. They do printing there?
Mhm.
That's what I was told.
Okay,
They do.
okay.
Even they even do film, but I can't tell you, I've never done it, but I was told Michael was talking about doing it because he had brought that film camera with him.
Cool. All right. Well, maybe we'll bring some prints to the next one. I do a reasonable amount of printing here. My grandnephew, has a fascination for aeroplanes, so I printed him a bunch for his last birthday, 16 by 20s. So cool.
Yeah, I've got the printer here, the Canon P1000, 13 to 19 inches. And if you look around our house, just about every wall is bare.
Oh, we're out of wall space. That's the problem I have. You know, so actually, we just redid. No, see, there isn't an empty wall in here.
Yeah, we can see that, Graham.
Yeah, well, there isn't. Look how big my space is, though. I might have to take. Well, actually, no. It's Jacob, the grandnephew, who's the car guy. It's his birthday on the 4th of July, and I was debating sending him my Corvette Stingray poster, but that's now too late to do that for this year, I think. So, anyway, okay, folks, I think we're done.
Okay.
Good set of images, and we'll see you on July the 6th then.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Graham,
Yeah,
Graham,
Meeting. Thank you.
it's AJ.
yeah.
Can I ask you to take just a second to pull up one of my photos with a photo viewer, not with Lightroom, and see what it looks like? Because this has got me baffled, because I even went and looked at the files I sent to you, and that red spot is not appearing.
Oh, well, I can do better than that. I can show you the file directly.
I'm just curious if it got corrupted in the process of sending it.
How are we doing this? Okay, let's share that. Then share that. Okay, so you should be able to see my. Yep. Okay, it's not in there. I keep all of these on my desktop. So, well, maybe you should have looked at what's on your desktop first, Graham. I think we're okay. So now, do you see the preview or not?
Part of it.
Yeah, so go down to my barn photo.
Yeah. Yeah.
There.
Well,
Well,
Up.
I pass it?
No, yeah, you did.
AJ, look at,
One more.
Right
there.
there.
there you go.
So
Oh, then I must be that is the overexposure warning that I've got on in Lightroom. I'll bet that's what it is. I mean,
okay.
I even talked about that and I didn't even think, hang on, let's have a look. Let's go back in Lightroom. Oh, come on, Graham, you know how to do this stuff. Here we go.
Because I was pretty sure if that was in my photo, I would have noticed it.
Oh, see, I haven't changed anything in here and now it's not showing. But if
Yeah, we don't see it now.
Oh, I'll bet I was in develop mode. There you go.
Still seeing your desktop.
Oh, you are? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in develop mode, not in view mode.
Okay.
That's the difference. So it was showing the overexposure marks, which is right. So yeah.
Okay, that explains it.
So I blamed you and it was me. Naughty, isn't it?
Your annual mistake.
There you go. That's what I said. It's me.
I do that, but mine's every day.
There you go.
All right, thanks.
Folks, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a
All
good,
right, thank you.
have a good holiday.
Thanks again, everybody. Thank you.
I.
Thank you. Bye-bye.